Excuse me. So you can control your other airplanes without having to make too many modifications in the actual control menu. I personally own a ton of add-on aircraft, and I can say that I haven't really had to change many of my settings whatsoever. But if you do find yourself in a situation where you need to change something specifically just so that it works with the H135, what I would always recommend, and I mean, not even recommend, I would say it's pretty much necessary unless you're a Matt man and you want to go in here and switch your settings up manually every time, go to Preset Manager. So what you can do is whatever you have currently mapped, if you only need to change a couple of things, just go ahead and hit duplicate. And what this is doing is we're taking our current settings, we're creating a duplicate profile. We're going to rename this profile to whatever we want, just something specific to helicopter so we know that. And now we've got a helicopter profile set here. So we can do this so that we can change things specifically for how we want to control the helicopter. And then whenever you want to fly different aircraft, it's as easy as changing it back to your default profile. Now you do need to repeat this for anything that you're changing. You know, if it's a setting you're changing on the keyboard for the helicopter, you need to repeat the same process I just showed you of making a preset. But it's still very, very useful to use. All right, so let's go ahead and get out of here. One thing I would recommend, again, just make sure that you check the FAQ section on our Discord or on the flightsim.to page. That way you can see any of the other control. If there's anything else that's kind of odd, we've probably noted it there somewhere in the FAQ. So let's go ahead and show you guys how to get started from being cold and dark. Here's that special informant that I told you guys about that we need to keep safe and get over to that regional airport. So first things first, let's go ahead and turn on our battery switch. So one thing I'll notice, the G3000 pops up here. The very first time that you install our H135 or when you're coming to a new update, we always recommend, you know, clear out the old folder version when installing, install the new folder completely. But anyway, once you've done that, this takes about maybe 60 to 90 seconds for our technology to load that controls some of the flight mechanics. What you'll see is at the top of the screen here, and I'll actually put an image on the screen for you guys now as well. You'll just see a warning that says, you know, do not fly. The module basically is still loaded. You'll also see that same warning here where our flight model button is. So this will be red and it'll say do not fly. So let's talk about those flight models. Our H135 currently has 3 flight models that it goes with, or that it ships with. We have Basic, which is the most responsive version, or is a more responsive version of the Xbox mode that I'll take you to here in a second. And it lacks many of the dynamic helicopter effects. So actually, let me start from the beginning here. So here's our Xbox mode. This mode has the least responsive controls, and it's optimized for Xbox thumbsticks. The reason why it has lesser responsiveness is because with the thumbsticks, you obviously have a larger scope of movement there. So to counteract that, we go ahead and we decrease that responsiveness for you. That way you're not flying all over the place or not jerking all over the place. Moving on to basic mode, this mode is more responsive when compared to the Xbox mode. And like I said before, it lacks many of the dynamic helicopter effects. And then finally, we have our advanced mode. What this mode does is it introduces engine torque and more subtle dynamic effects that all add up to help this make this aircraft feel like a real life helicopter. And when we talk about that engine torque, basically what that means is as you're flying, you're going to get this movement that is going to want to pull the plane to the right. So you're going to need to counteract that with left pedal. Or if you have a joystick with the twist, then you'll counteract that with the left twist. And that simulates your rudder because you need to turn against the torque to keep the aircraft, I keep saying aircraft, but to keep the helicopter moving in a straight line.